Thanks to the support as a channel member, Cal Kovacs. You know how sometimes your backup goalkeeper gets frustrated at lack of football, so asks for a transfer, and then a team who just happen to not have the same transfer window as you come in and make an offer, and he accepts the offer and you sell him, even though it's not a transfer window, but you don't worry because you've got a good first team goalkeeper, and there's that youngster who can sit on the bench in the meantime in like the 6 weeks until the transfer window opens, and then your first team goalkeeper breaks his hip and is out for 6 months, and you have to play the kid in all of the matches. Yeah, that. Hello and welcome to Club 6, Part 5 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have 2 Premier League games for you. At home against Leeds, away against Manchester United, the big one. And we've got to go into the big one with a kid in goal because things have happened. Firstly, since you were last with me, we've played really well. So despite the fact we've got this youngster in goal, has he ever even conceded a goal for us? Things are going really rather well. But I mean, he's 22. He's not a kid. But he's 2-star current ability, 2.5-star potential. 22-year-old goalkeeper who until this year had only ever played 1 game for us previously. He's conceded 1 goal, kept 2 clean sheets in the 3 league matches he's played. He's played 7 matches for us in total, and he's actually doing quite well. The reason he's in the team is because we sold our backup goalkeeper for Forlani. He went to Al Hilal for £26 million. You might think that was a crazy thing to do, bearing in mind Blanco wanted to leave the club. Well, the reason we sold him is because Blanco decided he was happy to stay. So Blanco came to me, said, you know what? I don't want to leave after all. I'm happy to stick around. And then almost immediately, it was like days after that, Forlani came to me and said, I want first team football. If Blanco had still wanted out, I'd have probably given it to him. As it was, I said no. And he said, well, I'll leave then. So I said, fine then. Put him on the transfer list. Immediate offer came in, far more than I expected to be able to get for a backup goalkeeper. I mean, that's a big fee for a backup goalkeeper, £26 million. So we took it, knowing that when he actually left with 2 months until the transfer window opened, we'd probably be fine. And then almost immediately, Blanco got his hip injury. It was originally a 5-month injury. He's now expected to be out for between 5 months and 2 weeks, 5 weeks and 2 months. We've still got a month to go until the transfer window opens. So Branca is going to have to play in goal for at least the next month. And then when the transfer window opens, we've got a little bit of money to spend we should probably go and get another goalkeeper at that point, shouldn't we? I don't know if we're going to be in a position to go and get Madison from Juventus. He would be the ideal, but I suspect we're not going to be able to afford him. He's England's number 1. He still doesn't play for Juventus. Maybe we'll be able to get him on loan to come and sit on our bench. Seems unlikely, but we probably do need to bring in another goalkeeper once we get to January. But in the meantime, we've got to play Manchester United with a kid in goal. We've brought another one up from the dev centre to sit on the bench as well. Callum Montgomery is a 19-year-old Welsh under-21 international with 3-star potential. Both Montgomery and Branca will be fine bench warmer goalkeepers forever. I don't have any concerns about either of them sitting on the bench. 2.5, 3-star goalkeepers are fine to sit on the bench. But when you have a long-term injury to your main goalkeeper, that's a worry. Let's see how Branca gets on. If he continues to play well, I guess we don't rush out and sign another goalkeeper in January. And things in general are going pretty well. As you can see, we're 1 point off the top of the league with 2 games in hand. So if we win those 2 games or if we draw one of them based on our better goal difference, we go top of the Premier League. So that's pretty good. Julio Aspas is still scoring goals for fun. So that's pretty good. We've got the 3 best players in the league for average rating. That's also pretty good. Harvey Elliott, second on assists, even though he has started only 8 games this season. On the whole, lots of positives at Liverpool at the moment. Let's keep them going. Let's go and beat Leeds. So this is the team we're going to be putting out there. The youngster Branca is in goal. Then there's a back four of Peralta, Corgi, Antunes and Wilson. Jaeger's going to sit at the base of midfield, where I finally accepted that Jaeger can play as a playmaker just as easily as any of the rest of them can. Just because he's better at being a ball-winning midfielder. The lad's got 13 for passing. He's 12 for vision. He's fine. He can play as a deep line playmaker just fine. We don't need to keep swapping the system around. So Jaeger's going to be in there as a deep line playmaker. Allows Bellingham to play as the box-to-box midfielder, which he's done for a couple of matches recently. You can see he's had a few goes at playing as box-to-box and has done very well when he's had the opportunity to do it. This is kind of what's convinced me to do it. Every time he plays box-to-box, he plays really well. A 7.5 and an assist there. He did it again there, got a 7.5 and an assist, 7.4 and an assist. He just plays much better in that box-to-box midfield role. So that's Jude Bellingham's role now. Ramon's going to be alongside him. And then our usual front three, Kone, Aspas, Diallo, who are all outstanding. Oh, it's a good team we've got here at Liverpool. We've figured out what our best 11 is, I think. There are still, I guess, questions over the back four. We could probably still do with a really top-level right-footed centre-back because Antunes is probably our second-best centre-back, but he's left-footed, and Corgi's our best centre-back, and he's left-footed, and all the other centre-backs we've got are left-footed, apart from the German-Japanese guy, whose name I can't remember, Sugimoto, but he's a right foot, but that's pretty much all he has going for him. I know we spent a lot of money panic buying him, but he's probably like our fourth or fifth best centre-back. We could do a real top-level right-footed centre-back, which we can't afford at the moment, and a right-back to compete with Wilson. Wilson is doing well, but he is very young, and he doesn't have a right-footed backup, and he's probably a centre-back as well. Wilson might end up being the centre-back we're looking for, and we bring in a right-back to allow Wilson to move over. So there are still things we need to fix in the defence, but that midfield, Jaeger, Bellingham, Ramon is outstanding, especially if we can get another 2 or 3 years out of Bellingham. There's no need to change that ever. And likewise with the front three, Diallo, Kone, Aspas. The one concern is that Aspas is 28, but he could go for another 10 years if he's like Harry Kane. So, yeah, the front six we don't need to fiddle with. Goalkeeper, we need someone in the short term, and the defence still needs tweaks. While all that's going on, Leeds have scored an early goal, which kind of goes against my look at us, we're great thing. Although, I did say we're not great defensively, and there's further confirmation of it. Jaeger now gives it to Bellingham. Lovely ball from Bellingham to Ramon, and he clatters into the crossbar. It was a lovely pass from Jude Bellingham, and Ramon really should be scoring there, and he hasn't, and that's a little bit disappointing. Remains 1-0 to Leeds, who are doing a lovely flat back six. I mean, I love the ambition of Leeds. At least try and play some football. Anti-football is so upsetting. Peralta with the cross in. Jallo's there, but his header is straight into the hands of the Leeds goalkeeper. It remains 1-0. I mean, it's been all Liverpool since Leeds scored in about the 90th second. You've got to think there's going to be a goal coming relatively soon. And I'm still pretty confident at this point, halfway through the first half, that we're going to go on and win this game. I think we're good enough to not panic at being 1-0 down. Kone plays it back to Peralta, who gives it back to Kone, who's getting behind his defender now, tries to slot Ramon in, who's burst out of midfield. But the pass was a little bit too straight, and it goes straight into the Leeds defender. But Wilson does well to intercept from the clearance. He's bursting into the area here, and he's been pulled back, and that's a penalty. Wilson just kept on running. He doesn't really have much in the way of end product. If I was Leeds, I'd have just let him keep on running. He's big and strong and powerful, but he can't really pass or cross or shoot. So I'd just let him keep going. He probably just would have ran straight into the advertising boards. But as it is, they've stopped him. We've got a penalty. Diallo steps up, and it is 1-1. We said a goal was coming, and it has now come. 24th goal of the season now for Diallo, who, despite me saying I wanted to play him up front, has spent most of the season out on the right wing. He is considered the best player in the Premier League, so we know he's pretty good. But 24 goals, it's early December, and he's had 24 goals from the right wing. Yes, there's been a lot of stat padding in the Conference League. I mean, if we actually have a look at him, I imagine a lot of them goals are Conference League goals. He's got 12 now in the Premier League. 12 goals from 2 starts in the Conference League. I mean, he has made 5 substitute appearances, but he has started 2 games in the Conference League and scored 12 goals. We are far too... If we don't win that competition with our reserves, questions need to be asked. And I think Leeds are going down to 10 men here. That is an absolutely wild challenge. And a red card is coming. Come on, ref. Do your thing. He has. And it's now 1-1. Leeds down to 10 men. And hopefully we now go on and win the game relatively comfortably. As mentioned, just the 1 point does put us back to the top of the Premier League as well. So if we can grab that win, which we should, playing against 10 men, if we can go on and grab that win, we go into the Manchester United game who are down in 4th, knowing that a big win over our big rivals really does start to cement us back at the top of the Premier League, where we're supposed to be. Jallo with the effort from range, and it's hit the crossbar, and we've hit the woodwork a couple of times in this match. Now, there is another goal coming. It's just frustratingly taking its time, and as the game goes on, the more and more frustrated we start to get. So hopefully we can grab a goal and go into the lead sooner rather than later. Leeds have got the ball, though, and spraying it out to this right-hand side where Kone and I think that was Ramon just doing a little bit of closing down, just making sure they don't have too much time on the ball, and they resort to lumping it forward. Wilson deals with it comfortably, and now Peralta is going to try and get a counter-attack going, and it's with Kone on the left-hand side. There's men queuing up in the middle. The cross is hung up there from Kone, and Aspas is not going to miss with such a lovely cross like that. He's just stuck it up in the air and invited anyone in the 6-yard box to have a go at it. Both Aspas and Jallo are in the 6-yard box, and Aspas is the one who meets it first, and it is 2-1, and it's come at exactly the right time. It's a lovely header as well. He's got 3 Leeds players around him. To be fair, Jallo has no one marking him, so it would have been a much easier goal to aim for Jallo, but he's gone to Aspas, who, yeah, 3 players marking him, who cares? Still going to do a football. Kone with the corner now to Corgi, and his header goes just over. It might have been Antunes, actually, who got on the end of that for the header, but we'd just like that third, the comfort goal, the one that allows us to just relax and start to take off some of the bigger players. We have got a Conference League game between now and the Manchester United match, which we'll do off camera because they're massacres. Every time we play them, they're absolute massacres. And you don't need to see that. As much fun as it is for me to beat a team 8-0, it doesn't make for good YouTube content. So we'll be able to rest and rotate some players in that game as well. We still don't have a huge squad for resting and rotating, as demonstrated by Jallo having to come off the bench 5 times in Europe this year. But there'll be players rested, but we'd like to do some more resting, and I think we've got another penalty here. Kone's the one who's been fouled this time. He's making a bit of a meal of it over there, but it absolutely has to be a penalty. The ref stopped play as we were pushing into the penalty area. If you don't then give the penalty, I'm going to sue you. Jallo is the one to step up once again to try and add his 25th for the season, and this time it's saved. Well, as Harry Kane would tell him off the back of what happened at the World Cup. Don't take a second penalty in the same game. It can never end well. And now we've got decisions to make. We've got 20 minutes to go. We are in the lead. There's no one who really needs to come off, but we've got Manchester United on the horizon. So we're going to make a few changes regardless and hope that we don't change too much and invite Leeds back into the game. We're not going to take off any of the really big players. I guess Ramon would probably argue he is very much one of our really big players, but we're not going to take off any of the front 3 is what I'm getting at there. Borge can come on with 10 minutes to go and like it, and he'll likely be on for either Jallo or Aspas, and I'd like one of them to add to their goal tally before that substitution is made. I'd be much more comfortable taking off one of the big goal scoring threats if we had a 2-goal cushion, and Owning wins the ball back in midfield and then decides to go it alone when he has both of our free scoring forwards ahead of him, and it's a little bit of a questionable choice. And now Kone with the corner, looking for the near post this time, and it's cleared comfortably, but only as far as Jallo, who's going to try and keep things going. He's now going to have a charge down his left-hand side. Just slide it across the goal, or have a go yourself. I mean, I don't think he knew what to do there. Pereira going to try and get the cross in, but that's your disadvantage of having a left foot at right back. He had to bring it back onto his left foot, and it left the Leeds defender too much time, and he got the tackle in. Owning with the ball over the top. Jallo tries to nod down, but it falls to Bellingham, and now Pereira with the in-swing, and that's the advantage of having a left footer at right back. You can hit those in-swinging crosses like that one, and now Bellingham with the cross, and it's cleared. Leeds are desperately defending here, trying to hold on. Bellingham with another cross. Kone can't quite get to it, but Owning is first there to get it back into the area. We are absolutely banging on the door, getting ready for our 3rd goal. It is not coming just yet, though. Right, we're going to bring on Sugimoto, and Antunes can go to left back and like it, and then Jallo is tiring, so we will now bring on Borge on that right-hand side. Harvey Elliott missing out on the opportunity to come on and play today. More often than not, he comes on for Bellingham, just so that I can try and keep both of them fit, as they're both 2 of the old men in this team. We're that far in the future where Harvey Elliott and Jude Bellingham are old men. Pereira cuts inside again to get onto his left foot, gives it to Filipov, who's come on for Jaeger, and now Bellingham back to Filipov, who plays it diagonally, looking for that run of Kone. Can't find him. The amount of balls we've played into this penalty area today. Kone again, now Antunes, back to Kone. Bursts into the area, slides it across goal, and there is Borges off the bench to make it 3-1. I was wary about bringing him on until we grabbed the third goal. He's come on and scored it himself. Unless the referee ruins everybody's day. He's checking. Forget about this, ref. Come on. That's the spirit. 3-1 to Liverpool. It's nice and comfortable. And Borges, that's his 11th goal of the season. Bearing in mind he's the understudy, that's not bad from him. And he's so quick. Just gets in there lightning fast to make it 3-1. Look at the state of the match stats today. We've dominated the game, 1-3-1. I know we played against 10 men for more than half of it, but we should have... the match stats, the XG, indicate we've actually been a little bit wasteful in front of goal. I guess missing a penalty will do that. Pereira with the in-swinger again. Although those in-swinging crosses aren't a little bit useful. They really are. 3-1, though. We'll take that. If we have a similarly dominant performance against Manchester United, we'll be ending this episode very, very happy. But first, we have to deal with Strasbourg off camera. We're top of the Premier League again, though. So... that's where we're supposed to be. That's what we're here to do. Win the Premier League. So after a nice, comfortable 5-0 win over Strasbourg, we have now... in fact, we haven't yet finished the group stage. I thought we'd finished the group stage. We've certainly qualified for the top 8. So we're going to miss that extra round of matches that you have to get if you finish outside of the top 8. So that's good. And it's now time for Manchester United. And I think that is an unchanged team from... the Leeds game. It's obviously very different to the team that played against Strasbourg, but it's our first choice team pretty much. And let's go out there and hopefully beat Manchester United. This is quite a big one for Liverpool fans, I understand. Is there anyone we would recognise? I mean, there's a few real players. Is that Reece James playing in central midfield for Manchester? Well, that's doubly interesting. That's Reece James playing central midfield for Manchester United in his 30s. Fair enough. Jallo plays... this is lovely football, and I thought we'd grabbed an early goal there, but it was unfortunately scuffed at the last moment. Even with this game being played, we'll still have a game in hand over those teams below us. So I don't think there's anything that can happen to take us off the top of the league. Obviously, one thing that could happen is Manchester United could win. Look how tight it is points-wise throughout that top 6, of which it's lovely to see Preston are still a part. Is that Saliba playing at centre-back for them as well? Oh, goodness me. This is a Manchester United team that has just hoovered up some of the players from other clubs who you wouldn't expect necessarily to move to Manchester United. Corgi to Pereira, who's playing it forward to Kone. We're being penned in a little bit here by United. They are holding us back in our own half, but we've got the wherewithal to knock it around beautifully to play our way out, although we've gone back to Jaeger there, which isn't ideal, but we're keeping some nice possession, some lovely, crisp, short passing. This is what happens, Liverpool fans, when you take a manager who used to manage Barcelona. We know how to do... I mean, and then we did a long ball. I did also used to manage Preston. It's important that we remember that side of things as well. But that is a huge mistake, and Aspas is in, and he scores, and it's an absolute gift from Manchester United. Lovely, lovely stuff. It's 1-0 on the half-hour mark. What on earth were they thinking here? They picked up the ball. That's their centre-forward. He's played a beautiful through ball to our centre-forward, he's not going to miss from there. And it's 1-0. And like I say, an absolute gift. We'll take that. We'll have more of those, please. Branca making a lovely save. Remember, this isn't Blanco in goal, our normal goalkeeper. This is the young kid, Branca, who's just made a fantastic save. He is making a name for himself on this little run. He looks like a very useful goalkeeper. Antunes from the header. And he's not able to keep it down below the crossbar. And it remains 1-0. But that is... I just love the fact they've given us that lovely gift of a goal. Very, very happy with that. Got João Felix in there as well. I probably could have had a proper look at the Manchester United team when we were looking at it before. I didn't. I just glanced at it, noticed Reece James, and felt like that was enough of a notable thing for me to have noticed. But they've actually got quite a few real players still left in their team. I don't think we've got... Oh, I was going to say, I don't think we've got any. We've got Jude Bellingham, who I guess is real. I hear Jude Bellingham is a real boy. Right, time to make some substitutions. It's been a little bit of a quiet second half, which is absolutely fine by me. We don't need an all-action second half. We're ahead in this game. We'll just let the whole thing drift away from here. That'll be absolutely fine. Right, made a few changes there. Gabriel coming on at right back is the worry. But Elliott and Borge coming on to play in those wide areas. It's a comfortable change that I make quite a lot. Pretty happy doing that. But we've got players getting tired everywhere. Peralta's going to come on at left back. Jaeger is going to come off. We don't have the guy who normally comes on for him. So I think what we're going to have to do, bring on Owning, drop Bellingham back and do that is probably more sensible than my assistant manager wants to bring Sugimoto on to play there, who has never played at defensive midfield. As far as I'm aware, United have now switched to a 4-4-2. Hopefully too little, too late. It has been a very quiet match, considering how much we've dominated those match stats. It was a very quiet match, and the only real chance we got was one that they gave to us. So it's a bit of a strange one, but ultimately we won. And that's the important thing as Liverpool manager. We've come to Old Trafford, we've won the match, we're top of the Premier League, and now we go into this January transfer window, wondering if we even need to sign a new goalkeeper because of how well Branca's doing since coming into the team. I mean, bless his cotton socks, he's got no transfer value at all. He's wanted by Crystal Palace. I'm not surprised Crystal Palace wants him. I mean, any mid-table or below Premier League team, based on these 5 matches he's played for us in the Premier League this year, should be looking at him thinking, yes, please, we'll have a little bit of that. How long until Blanco's fit again? 4 to 7 weeks. I think we're probably not going to bother signing another keeper. I think we can probably go with what we've got. But we'll do the January transfer window before the next episode, and then I think, we could potentially do a Manchester City doubleheader. In fact, no, we've got Manchester City and Manchester United. So January transfers and then Man City, Man United as a doubleheader coming up tomorrow. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.